Man City and Man United, it's been quite quiet in Manchester, Andy. Obviously, Mason Mount coming in for Man United. Andre Onana looks like he's going to come in as well to replace David De Gea, who left on a free transfer, which is a bit of a shock. Gundogan leaving Man City was a bit of a shock as well, I guess, but he kind of won it all at that point and wanted to try something different with Barcelona. So any targets, any areas that both of those teams should focus on? I think for Man United, the big need is up front, right? In that central striking area to take the pressure off Martial and Rashford, but doesn't seem like they're going to get the guy that they want in Harry Kane this summer, at least. So, bit of a stopgap situation for Man United, it feels like. But for Man City, I don't really know how you make that team better, but they're certainly going to try and do that.
Yeah, ask Pep. I'm sure Pep has 100 different answers of, well, we were really deficient in this, or we need to be better at this. The coach at that level is always going to find things to improve on and continue to push a team forward. On Manchester United, very interesting because you're right, they haven't done a ton. I don't think they need to do a ton though. Like they have a couple of very, very specific needs that they need to fill. Mason Mount maybe kind of fills a super utility role, to borrow a phrase from baseball. You get obviously in Andre Onana. You move on 3 goalkeepers this summer. You get in somebody that can play with the ball at their feet the way that Eric Ten Hag wants them to play and build out of the back and create chances from one goal to the other. But obviously the big one is center forward and who can they go out and bring in at this point. It feels like the game of musical chairs for center forwards has maybe kind of ended a little bit. Is Harry Kane in the game? Is Harry Kane not in the game? There's some questions there. But just remember a year ago how much of an impact one player, Casemiro, coming into that team made, because there was a lot of quality in that team. Like for all of the times that we said, well, Manchester United have not bought smartly. They bought good players. They bought good players that just didn't fit into the system and the way that the manager at the time wanted to play. And so they still have a collection of good players. And for the most part, they all fit together. But you're right, Joe. They need that center forward up top to bring everything together and obviously to score some goals. I think they're going to be good again defensively this season. They won't be the most exciting team in the world to watch, but I do think they're a top 4 team once again.
Yeah, for United, obviously, likes Harry Maguire, McTominay, maybe Fred, they'll be moved on. So once that happens, maybe there'll be some extra funds to add, a striker or maybe another midfielder. Or I'm just trying to think. You're right, they don't need that much, but they're probably 1 or 2 top quality players short of taking that next step and maybe being title contenders. But I still think right now, they're going to be a top 4 team this upcoming season, and that's where they're at right now with the squad that they have and with the ownership situation they're trying to figure out. So we'll wait and see what's going on in Manchester. Nick, Tottenham made some decent moves early. James Maddison, I think, is a big one to knit their attack together. Just the kind of player they've been missing probably since Christian Eriksen left. So I think that's a really good pickup. Obviously, new goalkeeper, Guglielmo, coming in from Empoli in Italy. And Kulusevski arriving on a permanent transfer. Didn't play a lot at the end of last season, but we've all seen what he can do. And then for Spurs, obviously, Kane staying right now. We're not sure where he's going to go. Is he going to go to Bayern Munich? Is he going to stick around? Is he going to sign a new contract? Is he going to leave on a free this time next year? It's difficult for Ange Postecoglou, but he's trying to build an attacking team. But I have concerns about the other end of the pitch, I think, with Tottenham. There needs to be some centre-backs quite quickly coming into this team. And is that the main area of concern for Spurs?
It is for sure. I've watched quite a bit of Celtic. I love Ange. I really like the hire. I think it maybe seemed a little underwhelming when it happened, but the more you hear him talk, the more you say he's the sort of personality that Tottenham room needed. Yeah, they needed to 100%. Hear from I'm in charge. This is me. This is how we're going to do it. If you don't like it, get out of here. All that said, and you're right about the center backs. You could have said a million words, but just tell me if Harry Kane's staying. Because if Harry Kane's staying, then they'll flirt with the top floor. If Harry Kane is gone, then Villa and Newcastle are better than them. And I know we could see something better from Richarlison. I know we could see something better from Kulusevski. There are some exceptional players in Tottenham. But without Harry Kane, that team drops 2-3 spots on the table for me, regardless of who they bring in. There were rumors of, maybe they bring in Ivan Toney in January. But, who is the other person that comes in? I guess you could really hope that Richarlison drives the bus, and he's a fantastic player. But really, the entire Spurs season will come down to whether Harry Kane is staying.
Yep. And let's not forget, they're not in Europe this season. So that's probably got to help them out a little bit as well with a new manager, a new philosophy. So something to be said for that. Andy, quick word on Spurs from you as a Spurs fan?
Yeah, the Kane situation is what it's what it's been for 3 years now. I think at this point, I will say this: James Maddison is going to score a boatload of goals as the late arriving number 8 to the top of the penalty area. The way that this team plays, the way that Ange's team plays, you need those central midfielders to arrive late and be the 4th and 5th attackers to join there late on. And what has he done so brilliantly at Leicester for a number of years? Score goals from the edge of the area. He's not much of an assister. I don't think he'll have really an opportunity to do that. I think that's going to come from the wings for this team. Kulishevsky, I think, will have a really, really strong start under Ange, just because he will become the playmaker, I think, for this team. And the goals will come from Kane. They'll come from Son. They'll come from Maddison. Let's not talk about the other half of the field, because there's currently there might legitimately be one defender, central and wide defender at the club, who is good enough to play at that level at this point in their career. So, until 3 or 4 more defenders are signed, let's just talk about the fun stuff.
Yeah, well, talking about the fun stuff, if we look elsewhere around the Premier League, away from the top 6, I mean, some of the other deals that caught my eye, Newcastle bringing in Tonali is an exceptional player. Surprising that he left AC Milan, but I think a huge pickup for Newcastle and kind of a statement of intent for them for how seriously they are taking this project and how they are looking to get to just not be a one-season wonder in the Champions League. And I think he's going to bring great tempo to their midfield alongside Bruno Guimaraes. And I think that's just a wonderful, wonderful signing from Eddie Howe. And maybe not one that everyone would have expected them to go for, but I really like that pickup. And then Aston Villa, Nick mentioned it earlier in the show. Obviously, Pau Torres coming in at centre-back. And then Yuri Tielemans as well, coming in on a free transfer. Just really excellent additions to your starting 11 for an Aston Villa team that is only going one way, and that is up under Unai Emery. So some other deals there that really caught my eye around the Premier League so far this summer, because of course we have a long, long time to go in the summer transfer window when it slams shut in early September. So head over to Pro Soccer Talk on NBCSports.com for all the latest transfer news from around the Premier League.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. For even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock and be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend on USA Network and on Peacock. We will see you over there.